Thank you. Okay, take it away, Mike.
Okay, thank you, Melinda. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael King, and I'm the Technology Specialist 3 with the Tribal Air Monitoring Support Center, where I provide technical assistance to tribal air quality programs. This includes assistance with air monitoring equipment, operation and maintenance, as well as data management and upload of air data to US EPA's air quality database. Okay, so an overview of this presentation will provide basically an introduction to EPA's air quality system database, and also will provide information regarding basic mandatory AQS codes that will be needed in order for you to parameterize CREST with your air monitoring site and monitor information. This is important as this will allow you to utilize CREST to upload your data to the AQS database. These basic codes include AQS site ID codes, parameter occurrence codes, method codes, reporting unit codes, and AQS reporting duration codes. And also I'll provide a quick demonstration of AQS coding. Okay, US EPA's Air Quality System Database. The Air Quality System Database is a computer-based information management system for handling and storing and retrieving information pertaining to ambient or outdoor air pollutants and meteorological data. The AQS database uses Oracle database software, and it's accessible through your web browser. So you can use Chrome or still using Internet Explorer. AQS is administered by the US EPA Office of Air Quality Planning and Standards in Research Triangle Park, North Carolina. So the Clean Air Act requires to provide a national database of ambient air pollution data containing things like criteria pollutants, air toxics data, photochemical assessment data, and meteorological data. The purpose of the data collection and maintenance of air quality is to establish and enforce air quality standards set forth by the Clean Air Act. So basically, AQS contains ambient air pollution data collected from thousands of monitors operated by EPA, state, local, and tribal air pollution control agencies throughout the country. In addition to the meteorological data, it's important to know that AQS also contains descriptive information, which includes geographic location and operator site information, as well as quality assurance data and control information. But the thing to keep in mind is the AQS data is not reported in real time, but reported by agencies typically every 90 days. And the data is always subject to quality assurance review prior to uploading. So AQS coding for CREST. Here. So reporting agencies must submit air quality data as formatted coded transactions by first uploading the transaction files to EPA's Environmental Information Exchange Network. So there's a link here to EPA's AQS code list and also AQS data coding manual. There's many types of coded transactions that are used to provide site, monitor, and data information to the AQS database, but we won't go into this deep into that much detail, but the coded transaction files are loaded to the ENSC, the Environmental Exchange Network Service Center, and then available to upload to AQS. So again, CREST can be used to upload data to AQS. So AQS and Exchange Network, here's a picture of the AQS and ENSC web portal access. Again, AQS data are not real-time because observations that are collected have to be quality assured before they're submitted to AQS. Again, there's usually a 3-month period that agencies are allocated to provide that submittal. The Exchange Network is just a web-based tool to send, get, and download air quality data and information. So how to access AQS? So you just simply complete a new user registration form and accept the user security guidelines. Here's a link to the AQS registration website and forms. You can email or fax your registration form and security signature page to the AQS regional representative and EPA's enterprise IT service desk. And then after you do that, you will get contacted by the AQS team from OAQPS, typically within a few days. And they will provide you your username and temporary password. Then you will be required to update that temporary password with one of your choosings. But be sure to review EPA's password policy on the registration website. So just FYI, password resets and AQS registrations are provided through the EPA Enterprise, their IT service desk, and they're operated under to US EPA. And this is important to know, all other EPA AQS support requests will need to be directed to your regional AQS rep. So this is what the login and screening group blocks look like. Here you will provide your username and password, then after will prompt you to access AQS either as a read-only user or as a screening group user. The screening group is typically the name of your tribe. A read-only user only can download data, but having the screening group access allows you to have read-write capability, which means you can upload and remove data in addition to downloading data. All right, we'll go to some polling questions really quick. Natasha?
Yes, the 3 questions should be on screen now.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, it looks like so far half and half with folks that have AQS credentials. In regards to other staff having AQS credentials, looks like there's a little more people showing that other staff have those credentials. In regards to gaining those credentials, it looks like a majority of y'all are wanting to obtain AQS credentials. And again, it's an easy process, but just work diligently with your AQS regional rep. Okay, let me go to the next. Let's go to the next slide now. AQS site identification code. So before selecting a site ID, I recommend that you contact your AQS regional rep and notify that rep that you are a tribal user and provide them with your tribal code. Again, this is helpful when you initially set up a monitoring site and are going to select a site ID. Below is a link to your regional AQS representative's contact information. So according to the AQS coding manual, your choosing site ID has to be a numeric 4-digit number that uniquely identifies each monitoring site within a county or tribal area. There's no requirement that site IDs be assigned continuously or any particular order. Tribes are free to allocate their site numbers in any way they choose, as long as there is no duplication within a county or tribal area. So this is why it's important to touch base with your regional rep just to avoid duplication. For tribal sites, because tribal areas, they cross amongst counties or state lines, extra care must be taken when you're developing a site ID, just to avoid that duplication. So this is a picture of the AQS database basic site block, data block. That's what it looks like. Let's see. Whoops, I'm sorry, I jumped to. Okay, hold on. Oh, sorry, jumped ahead on you guys. So this is again, a picture of the AQS database basic site data block. This is where you can find your site ID and tribal code, and if you have AQS access. But keep in mind, as you can see in the lower right corner from the drop-down list, that some site IDs may already have been established for a particular state and county, so you want to avoid duplicates. But if anything, AQS will kick you an error message saying that that site ID already exists. Again, just be sure you touch base with your AQS rep to verify and confirm you're choosing site ID. The other code we'll move on to is AQS parameter codes. This refers to the code assigned to the parameter to be measured by the monitor. By parameter, we mean this could be pluents or non-pluents. For example, here I have a parameter code 88101. This code is for PM 2.5, measured at local conditions. And then we also have a parameter code 61101, which is the parameter code for wind speed measurements. This is an alphanumeric 5-digit code, meaning it can contain a letter or a numeric value. And again, when establishing a monitor in AQS, this is a mandatory code, which would also be mandatory in CREST as well. Also, this is considered a key field in AQS, which means basically that it's used to uniquely identify specific data in the database. So this is what the AQS database maintain monitor block looks like, where you can find the parameter code. As you can see from the drop-down list, there's a numerous amount of numbers of parameter codes for pollutants and non-pollutants. So AQS parameter occurrence codes. This is also called POC for short, and it's used to distinguish between multiple monitors at the same site that are measuring the same parameter. For example, the first monitor established to measure for carbon monoxide at site could have a POC of 1. If an additional monitor were established at that same site to measure carbon monoxide, that monitor would have a POC of 2. However, if a new instrument is installed to replace the original instrument used in the first monitor, that could be considered the same monitor, and that would have a POC of 1. Again, some more attributes. This is a numeric 2-digit ID and is both mandatory and a key field. Also, the numbers don't need to be assigned sequentially, so it's to your discretion. Again, this is the AQS, looking at the AQS database where you can find the POC code. And again, this is under maintain monitor block. As you can see from the drop down list, that there's a excuse me, this is for parameter occurrence code. Okay. Yep, you can see that there. Okay, AQS method codes. This code identifies a particular method for collecting and analyzing samples of the monitor's parameter. An example would be method code 098, which corresponds to an RNP, or now thermal scientific model 200 particles air sampler, which uses a Teflon filter to collect particulate matter that are then sent to a gravimetric lab for analysis to determine total weight of particles deposited on the filter. Another example of a method code would be 087, which corresponds to an instrumental or gaseous analyzer that uses ultraviolet absorption via Beers-Lambert law to detect and measure ozone molecules in the air. Attributes for this code is it's a 3-digit code, and it's alphanumeric and mandatory. Method codes. Here in the maintain monitor block, you can find a drop-down list of different method codes. Again, as you can see from the list, there's numerous types of method codes for both pollutants and non-pollutants. Okay, AQS reporting unit codes. This code identifies the measurement unit in which the pollutant concentrations or parameter reading is expressed. In other words, the unit of measure is associated with the reported concentrations, mass, or flow value. These units can be expressed in parts per million per volume of air, or micrograms per cubic meter of air for gaseous or particulate monitors, or liters per minute for flow rate, or miles per hour for wind speed. Attributes includes, this is alphanumeric 3-digit code, and also it's mandatory. So again, this is where you can find reporting unit codes within AQS, within the maintain monitor block. There's a drop-down list of reporting unit codes. Again, there's several unit codes depending on the parameter being measured. In this case, it looks like the drop-down list includes the units available. Looks like for ozone measurements. Okay, AQS reporting durations. These are just duration codes which identify the period of time which the sample value was collected. Typically, this is 1-hour intervals or 24-hour intervals. Again, it's alphanumeric, it's a 1-character code, and it's mandatory. So here's just a demonstration of AQS codes, an example of AQS coding. Highlighted in red are the basic AQS codes that we just covered in this presentation. As you can see, we have the site and tribal code for the Ho-Chunk Nation, Wisconsin. Also included is the tribe's parameter code for PM 2.5, the pot code, as this is a co-located site, and the method code for filter-based gravimetric measurements. Also included is the reporting unit code, which is for PM 2.5 measurements expressed in micrograms per cubic meter of air. So on AQS, you can, if you have access to AQS, you can run an AQS Extract site or monitor data report. This is referred to AMP 500 or AMP 501. When you extract this report, you're able to view existing AQS codes for your site and monitors if they're already established in AQS. So what this does, it'll bring up a coded transaction file that looks like the one that you see here. It's a pipe delimited text file. In this pipe delimited text file, you can find and view your AQS codes. And here's just a diagram of that. So you can use this diagram as a key to identify your codes within the pipe delimited input formats. All right, here's our polling questions again. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to do these questions.
And Mike, just a quick note, the results won't show on screen unless I share them. So let me know if you'd like me to have that available to attendees. Otherwise, we can just close it once everyone's done voting.
Okay, I'll just provide a quick overview here after a couple more seconds. Thank you.
Here's my puppy.
So it looks like the first polling question, do you have a better understanding of basic AQS codes needed for CRESS? Looks like 100% of you guys said yes. And do you plan to determine your AQS codes and apply to CRESS? Looks like majority of you guys, 92% said yes. So great. And again, you guys can contact me if you need to, just to clarify any questions that you guys might have later regarding these basic AQS codes. All right. To the presentation here. So the resources, here's a link to the AQS user guide, also the AQS data coding manual, EPA's AQS code list, and also a list of different monitoring methods for your monitors. I believe we'll be providing this as an attachment for your resources, the link. So that's the end of my presentation. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike.